Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me on another episode of the Estrella podcast. My name is Danielle Miranda, and before I get started in introducing today's wonderful guest, the time is here. Estrella is officially in its beta phase. If you would like to learn more information and are interested in joining or just curious as to what's going on inside the platform, please head over to estrellaadvisors.com. Now, I'm really excited for introducing today's guest. I have the absolute pleasure of bringing onto the show today intuitive quantum healer, Kathy Hazel Adams. Hi, Kathy. How are you today?
I'm great, Danny. Thank you. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Wonderful. I'm really excited to interview you today.
Well, I am excited to be here. I love what you do, so thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate it. I actually have been humbled enough to just continue to have great guests like yourself come onto the show. And it's allowed me to really value and appreciate the aspect of interviewing. So thank you for being a guest.
My pleasure.
I am very curious to know, as I was introducing you, I saw the word quantum in how you refer to yourself. Now, for those of us listeners or viewers that are into science and physics, immediately what comes to mind when you hear the word quantum is quantum physics, right?
Sure.
But I know that that's not fully, has probably nothing to do with what you're about. Could you explain why you have the name quantum with what you do?
Sure. And actually, in a way, it has everything to do with it. And what I
Okay.
mean by that is quantum physics actually, my sessions are, what I do is I'm a mystic, and I have been my entire life, and I've known it since I was 5 years old. And everything is what a lot of people would call psychic and clairvoyant. We're working with consciousness. We're working with the beliefs and the ideas, the feeling beliefs, which are often different than what we think can be different than what we think we believe, what we'd like to think we believe. So everything is, as you and your listeners have always heard, everything is energy. Every idea, every belief, every emotion you have has a vibration. So the thing is that quantum physics actually describes the nature of our reality, the nature of how we create our own reality individually and as a collective. What quantum means, really, when you distill it down, is all of your possibilities, past, present, and future, exist simultaneously in an infinite now, the infinite present moment. And that is quantum. And guess what? What does quantum physics say? The electron exists around its nucleus in all its positions at once until it's observed to be in one position. So the physicist can say, well, where are you now, electron? He says, well, I'm here. Well, where are you now? Well, I'm here, but it's because it's in all of its positions at once. The way that for years scientists tried to say that, well, yeah, but that's just true at the quantum hyper micro level, but it's not true for us out here. Oh yeah, it is. If you observed yourself yesterday to have trouble with finances, and maybe you don't really, you haven't worked hard enough to have enough abundance in your life, or maybe you're not skinny enough, or your house isn't beautiful enough to be lovable, whatever it is, that's you, me, choosing what our experience is going to be with those ideas. We're observing ourselves in one of many states. Now, if you have a sore knee, there's a version of you that exists with no sore knee, where it's already healed, or it was never sore. No matter what you look at in your personal life, or even the life of the country or the world, whatever we've chosen, all of the other options are still there. We just aren't vibrating in them. And that's where that energy frequency thing comes back. It's like, okay, I'm vibrating where I have a sore knee and my abundance isn't what I'd like it to be. Okay, we can work with that, right? We can change what the ideas and the beliefs, emotional beliefs, that we're holding, that's generating what we experience. We can't experience anything that's not a vibrational match to us. We can't experience it if we're not vibrating with it. So it's very quantum, but it's not. I just think quantum physics beautifully describes how we create our universe and our individual lives. And so I read as I'm older than you are, and I've been reading not only the mystical stuff for years, but for many years I was getting the science magazines and reading all about quantum physics, and I kept saying, do these people not get that's how we're that's true for us too? That, I mean, this is exactly describing how we're creating our reality. So quantum is a very spiritual thing, and many more scientists now know that. And
Yes.
I mean, the cat's out of the bag.
Yes.
It's out of the bag.
Well, this is all very fascinating because I realized as you were speaking that there are a lot of parallels and similarities between the science version of quantum physics and then actually what you do, bringing in the spirituality aspect of the quantum.
Right.
So I love how you were able to go into depth of what quantum actually really means. Now, I have another question to ask, Kathy. As you were speaking, something that came into mind is, do you believe in predestination or free will?
Free will, 3 billion%. Predestination, no, 0.
Okay.
Because we always have, we are each the creator of our own reality. And so even if we've, as we have, agreed to appear in a reality where there's war and some people aren't doing so well, and then there's poverty, we're still in charge of how we experience that. For instance, during the Great Depression, there were people that did fine. That it didn't affect everybody, right? It depends on where you are and what you need or want on soul level or emotionally to experience, how you experience what's going on. But at all times, nothing can be imposed upon us that we don't at some level go along with and say, yeah, I need this, maybe consciously, not sometimes. My house flooded during Helene, and I knew darn well why it happened, because I was like, oh, I wonder how one deals with that. That would just be terrible. I dealt with it, and it wasn't pleasant, but it wasn't terrible. But I saw how it happened. It's because I've done this for years now. So anyway, yeah, no predestination. And as a matter of fact, I started my very conscious journey with this many decades ago, when a very dear friend gave me my first Seth book. And for our listeners, Jane Roberts' Seth books, there are 10 or 12 of them. And I read all of them, throughout the decades, and did all the work and did all the years of meditation going within, and tracking this information within consciousness. But Seth said, no one can predict what you're going to do, what your choice is going to be, because you always have choice. And at the very last moment, it doesn't matter what it is. There can be just a sharp left turn, and there's a different choice made. And he said correctly, that's why a psychic can predict. You go to psychics and they predict a certain thing, and they're not wrong if it doesn't come true. It's that there were several, what now the word everyone is using very nicely, timeline. There were several options on the table of timeline. And at the time when they were vibrating with you, this was the one that was really lit up and that they saw. And something changed in you, what you vibrate with, and you made another choice. And so it's not that they were wrong. It's just that you chose another probable reality or timeline. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. That is so well explained, because I have in the past with myself, have had help from spiritual advisors, and there had been like a prediction laid out, and come to find out that it didn't necessarily happen in that way. Now, that didn't mean it didn't make it true, but you're right. My vibration could have been vibrating differently to have a different outcome. So
Yeah.
that is so well explained, and it makes so much sense with certain aspects in my life.
Oh, it will to everybody. And that option was certainly on the table. And it might have been, again, at that time, the brightest option. So, yeah. So, and I mean, yes, I never go to other people, and I never have, but at one point during my life, I'd had a very painful breakup with someone. This is before I met my current husband. And I went to a very excellent psychic. And I need a little help here, because I was in the weeds, and emotionally you get in the weeds, and then you're not in your highest vibration and as clear as you could be. But anyway, I had seen a very possible a mate coming along, and she saw him too. And then I met my husband, and I went to her and I said, well, here's this person. She's like, oh yeah, but he's not the one. Yeah, well, yeah, except for we made that left turn. And yes, he was the one. And, 30 years later, it just, that's how it goes. But it doesn't mean she was wrong in seeing that.
That's amazing. That's awesome. I have a question, diving a little deeper into what we're talking about. How would you then break down karmic patterns? If somebody is like, I want to change, I don't like this behavior or this addiction, or I attract these type of people and relationships, how do you then break those karmic cycles so that you can vibrate to a higher vibration to actually attract what you want?
So first, understand you. I love the way you just put that, because you didn't say someone trapped you or this was imposed upon you. Karma is not punishment. It's not that you're being punished in this lifetime, or that this had to be this way from another lifetime. Your soul has things it wants to experience. And again, there is no time. We're in an infinite present. That I can't say that strongly enough. And so actually all of your lifetimes are happening simultaneously, and all possible versions of them are happening simultaneously. So if there's a version of you vibrating in a certain pattern that maybe other lifetimes have what may be an addiction, fear, that's fear. Addiction is always judging. I'm not a doctor, you guys. I'm not a psychologist. Addiction is always medicating because you don't feel like you can live up to what you should be, or what you think you want to be, or what you can be. You're not good enough. Got to medicate it. Not enough. So anyway, and that was an awfully simple way to put that. But the first thing is to step out, realize that the idea that you are trapped in a karmic pattern. Let's let go of that idea, because if what I belief, if what I think is true, is true for me, is I'm trapped in a karmic pattern, that's what I'm vibrating in, right? You can only experience what matches your vibration. All I'm going to get is I'm trapped. So the first thing is to let go of that, and start looking at the beliefs underneath. Why? So, for instance, a karmic pattern of, I guess let's go back to that addiction. Okay, clearly, I don't feel okay just being me, raw, so to speak. I need to medicate it. I need to feel okay. I'm allowed to feel that way. First of all, what do I feel? I don't feel safe. I don't feel good enough.
Right.
Okay. We're allowed to feel that, by the way. There's no such thing as a bad feeling. We're allowed to feel that. I have permission to feel that. Well, then we want to go on to, and this is how you might think through it on your own, just sitting, with your coffee in the morning or whatever. Okay, well, what doesn't feel safe to me? Well, I might fail. I should be doing this and I might fail. Well, let's take a look at that. You should be doing that. You should want to do that. Right there, that's a red flag. Spirit Your soul's truth never speaks in shoulds. It's all about potential, inspiration, soul's inspirations. Shoulds are ego, mental. So you start parsing through the why. What do I feel is true? Well, I won't be loved if I don't do this. Okay, let's look at that. You won't be loved? Is that really true? Maybe. And I would say that if there's someone around you that you won't be loved by, if you don't do a certain thing, that person needs to not be included in your world anymore. But see where that goes. Why am I including someone in my world that will only love me if I do X and such, right? What it's always going to come down to is I won't love me. I'll judge me as being unlovable. And that's something, and then you just go into spirit and you say, I'm willing to change this. I'm willing to change this understanding and belief about myself and allow it to come to you. I'm not kidding you. This is like, I've used this for years in my classes and with clients in private sessions. Simply asking, and I'll use a capital A because we're asking of our higher self, asking to think and feel and understand differently about this. I am not kidding. And then let it go. What you don't want to do is sit there with that same brain that came up with the problem going, well, no, you just ask and mean it. I'm really, really willing to think, feel, and understand differently. I ask for help, all my guides, my angels, whatever you care to, my inner self, my higher self. I am not kidding. An hour later, 2 hours later, tonight, tomorrow, next week, you'll go, oh, I feel completely different about this. I've changed. Not kidding. It's your intention. It's an intention and allowing the change.
Right.
You're not held by your karmic cycles unless you buying that story and choose to stay in it till you finally realize that you're bored with it and ready to do something else.
Yes. That's very reassuring and very relieving actually to hear that, because a lot of times when we hear karma, we attach it to like a negative connotation with our lives and with ourselves. And we tend to think that we are trapped and that we don't have that possibility of getting out. But hearing you speak, it gives listeners and viewers that feel like they're trapped hope that they can get out of these patterns. They have to, one, again, like you said, believe that they're not even in a pattern to begin with.
Yeah, you're not bound by it.
It doesn't exist.
Have you ever seen the card in the tarot deck, the devil card?
Yes.
And I don't do tarot readings, but I'm familiar with the tarot. When you know idea energies and fields and archetypes. I mean, it doesn't matter which thing you're looking at, you get it. But anyway, that devil card almost invariably is shown, or at least that these people are sort of bound with like a collar around their neck with a chain, right? But it's not hooked to anything.
Right.
They just think they are, right? You are in charge of your experience. And the more you realize that, the more you realize, well, I don't have to subscribe to that belief just because my whole family did, or my culture says I should, or whatever. And karma, but by the way, it's not punishment. It's education. If there's something, blind spots, things we want to experience or need to understand, we'll give ourselves the ways to understand it. And so if there's something going on, actually it's doing you a big favor. It's like, oh, I get to realize something here that I've been holding on to. That's not true. It's not true. Right. But I've been holding on to it like it is and creating my life like it is. Yeah. Anyway.
So Cathy, expounding a little bit more on the asking aspect of what you were talking about, could you also apply that to manifestations? Right. Oh, yeah. So being able to ask for what you desire and then not ask anymore, be done and let it just happen. With manifesting, you hear a lot about you want to manifest and ask and ask and ask and ask.
You're working
at what point does that become a little redundant? Right.
Not only redundant, but what you're saying is, well, I don't have it yet, and I better work. If I better work at it, if I'm working at it, I don't have it. That's interesting. That you say that. There's a Native American tribe, and I'm not going to be able to come up with which one now. That I saw a video, YouTube video, and it might have even been a Peter Santinello video but someone went out with one of the elders of the tribe, or certainly shaman of the tribe, but they went to the spiritual place, this rock, to pray. And they said they went to the rock, and the Native American shaman just was there for a moment, and then they're going. He's like, the man with him said, "We're done." Yeah, what you just said. When you ask, and it's not it's an ask, you guys, knowing that you will get. You are. I call it the universe within has you on a hot mic. What you ask for, whether you know you're asking for it or not, is what you're gonna get. And so really feeling that, yes, I really would like to have this. Now, do you have, if you've been trying to manifest something and it's not, either, I'm not even going to say either, there's going to be something in you that is not ready or willing to have it yet. You don't think you've worked enough for it. You don't think you deserve it. Maybe you're afraid you can't handle it once you get it. There are all kinds of those things will muddy the picture. When you are clear and it's something that your heart really wants, not just, oh, I think a pink Cadillac will just make me happy. Well, your happiness doesn't come from a pink Cadillac. Don't get me wrong. If you are in joy, in true soul's joy and in the higher vibe, and it feels lovely to just see a pink Cadillac, oh, you can get the pink Cadillac, and there's nothing wrong. It's not spiritual, but you're not pinning yourself to that, needing that, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
But anyway, so yes, you actually, in fact, I think I posted something to back when I don't post much on Facebook anymore, but except for my YouTube videos, but I had posted just ask, accept, ask, allow, accept, or something like that. Just like that. Yeah. You just ask, knowing, like, if you would ask, hopefully most of us, if you would ask your mother as a little kid for a glass of water, you're going to get the water. It's not, gee, will I get it? Do I have to work hard enough for it? Do I deserve it? It's, can I have a glass of water? Knowing you want it and knowing it will be given. That's clarity of intention. And yeah, it'll just start manifesting. And we're all getting to where we're getting clearer and clearer on who and what really, who we are and what is our true soul's joy versus the shoulds and the ego expectations. And more things are just starting to manifest for everyone more quickly.
Right.
So you were spot on.
When it comes to working with clients, Kathy, let's say you have a client that comes to you and they can clearly see where they want to be, but they don't have the formula or the steps to get there. Where do you come in when working with your client in that regard?
When first of all, every session is different, even for the same client. And what I do, pardon me, in sessions, they'll have a clear first of all, very often, if they're that confused about what they want, they don't have a clear idea.
Mm-hmm.
No, they don't. If everything was just completely clear, they'd be following their inner guidance, and they'd know they were clear in their own desire, and this is what's really their true soul's creative joy, and it's what they want to experience. It's almost, not even almost, they're going to have some, whether it's a very small or a very large set of obstructive ideas about, again, maybe they really, really know and intend to have a successful business, really. But something just keeps not working. It could be something as simple as a simple belief of, I won't be able to handle that kind of volume. I'm scared I won't be able to handle it. Or maybe I was raised with the idea that it's not not spiritual to have too much money or to be too successful. I mean, there's always going to be beliefs in there. When we come into sessions, I don't run the session and dictate the session. I become a receiver for the client's higher self, the guidance, the angels. I am, and my own, of course, the higher dimensional beings, the Akashic records. And I am always plugging into what most helps this client. And yeah, within mind too, what they want or think they want at this point, at any rate, and what energies and information do we accept, what ideas pop up that are, invariably it'll be like, I'm seeing this. Do you think maybe you've had a belief of something like this? Oh yeah, my mother always used to say da 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 da. Okay, now we can just agree that that's a belief. It's not a truth for you. You don't have to. And so it's energetic incorporation and release of ideas, beliefs, pure energies. Very much. It can come up in so many different ways, but there can be chakra clearings, where we're holding ideas. Chakras, we need to be taking in information from our universal, our divine self within. It's hard to do that if you have your own beliefs going, blah, 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 can't hear you because this is what's true. You can't get out of your own way. So we clear all those kinds of things and go into vibration where you're not being hindered by the vibrations that you don't want to match. And very much alternate, we talked about those timelines, those other versions of ourselves at all past, present, future. There's another version of you that's very successful and is in the vibrational pattern of success. Right. We bring in elements of that pattern, or maybe the whole pattern, depending on what's called for. But in all case, I'm being fed, because it's our intention to be fed what doesn't belong here. And by the way, what would it help you to be consciously aware of here? And what does help you be in vibration? A lot of times it's permission to be in vibration, where you can accept, where you deserve, whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah, so no two sessions are alike, ever.
Are you able to see with your client clearly all versions of them, or the possibilities of like where they could go, or is there a limit to what you can see?
I love that you asked that. I love that you're doing these interviews, because you're so spot on. Yeah. So I can't speak for how other people see, but the thing is that I am God, you are God, we're all God, but I'm not omniscient as Kathy. So I have to. The answer is yes. I can sometimes. I really clear see. Just as I can say to someone, "Yeah, I see you right here, clear as a bell. Just doing this. It's like, here it is," and it's that clear. Or sometimes I am aware of, and there's this other possibility that's in there too. So let's make a choice here. Let's make a choice, and I help them with the weight of my witnessing them. They're observing them. I'm not doing things. I'm not making them change. I'm giving them energetic support to go into vibration with their higher, their best. I always have to be aware, and I'm sure everybody is, there's a whole bunch I can't see, and that is okay. Sometimes information will come through that I say to the client, I'm not here to make a story around this, and I'm not here to turn into the ego self and guide your changes, right? We've asked for the highest, best changes, and if this particular energy just came in, or this particular thought just came in, okay, but I'm not omniscient. But that doesn't, but I know those possibilities are there. And there may be some aspect of another version of you that's exactly the right little or big addition. And it's not my place as Kathy Hazel Adams to judge that. It's like, this is what your higher self says is here. So, okay. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't care what you call me for dinner. It's like, okay.
Kathy, do you believe that a lot of what your clients may be experiencing in terms of behaviors or patterns, do you ever find that it's stemming from their parents
Oh yeah.
or their family backgrounds?
Oh yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. And as a matter of fact, it'll come through to me. Of course, it could come in different ways. And sometimes I'll actually go, this, there feels like this belief here, and it feels like it's coming from a female source. Did your mother, or, and invariably, yes. However, there's also within the matrix energetics protocol, I'm going to put it that way, because it's so much broader than a modality. But there were some healing frequencies taught to kind of give you a roadmap, somewhere to go, especially when you're new. And one of them was DNA. And what quickly started happening in my sessions is not only, of course, our DNA shifts and re-triggers and activates differently as we shift our source energetic pattern and what we're holding there in those beliefs and ideas and beliefs. But I also started seeing inherited cultural. I was like, oh, inherited cultural DNA, belief DNA, so to speak. And so it'll come it can come in any way. That's just two of the prime examples. But yeah, very often, and then the energy, because it's not usually me coming up with it, although sometimes, and I'll be told, yeah, that's a good one, go there. But it's going to be, I love you, mom and dad, or I love you, my culture. I love you. And I am not bound by your worldview and by what you thought is true for me. I love you, and I am. And then usually energies of autonomy and independence and self-empowerment, boundary, those kinds of energies will come in to be witnessed in, to where it's really okay to love people and keep the positive, perhaps, parts of your culture, but not have to fit the whole. It's called a morphic field, where there's this whole train of thought and all the beliefs that go with it. And it's like, I have to fit that. No, you don't. No, you don't. You're the creator of your own reality. And it's a freedom from cultural inherited beliefs. Yes.
Right. Now, I know we had talked about, you and I aren't doctors, and we're not here to treat, diagnose, or say
Right.
that what we're saying is going to cure anything, right?
That's
but
right.
I would like to ask, right, with that being said, and just for viewers and listeners who may be curious, could you change the outcome of a health issue, for instance?
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
if you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm not a victim, this is not generational, I can break this right now.
thank you.
You can change an outcome of a dis-ease or
I
an
love that.
infection or anything of that nature, correct?
That is absolutely correct. You're so spot on, Danny. That dis-ease, I love that. I say that too. It's a place where you're not in your true source light and love flow with yourself. It's a place where something isn't okay for you. And so it's a dis-ease. So yeah, absolutely. If there's a version of you that has contracted some disease, or the answer is yes. There's a version of you that never had it. There's a version of you that has already cured it. There's a version of you where it's way better. We have to access the highest you're willing to go to. There's a matter of a permission. Modalities give us a way. So we know there's a version of us where we don't have this physical problem. We know that. How do we get there? Well, we have quite the consensus reality that we've all been steeped in like tea bags. So to some degree or another, it's very helpful. For some people, it's going to be, I have to go and have an operation and have, things removed from my body. For some people, it's going to be that they're able to let someone like me or some other type of practitioner, acupuncturist, whatever, help them shift. But it's something that gives them, I call it the yellow brick road. It gives you the pathway to get from here to here. Because back to that quantum thing we talked about, the whole thing about quantum is whether it's me or you or an electron. If you're here, you don't have to, and you want to be here, you don't have to to get there. You're here and then you're here. That is quantum, which means we're able, like that, if we were able to let ourselves be in the healed absence of illness state, just like that. And that is how miraculous healings happen. That's how Jesus did it. That's exactly how. And remember, what did he say to people when he had helped, help the man walk or see? He said, "Go, sin no more." He didn't mean don't be bad anymore. He meant don't tank into your old vibrational pattern of beliefs of, I can't see, and darn it, I have a disability compared to everybody else, and life is hard for me. Don't tank back into those. Be
Right.
in a new vibration. So yeah, absolutely change outcomes. Now something that, for instance, has really been, this is an example from way years ago that another practitioner told, and I liked it a lot. Like someone who has had a pacemaker placed. Now maybe the client is just really uncomfortable and they feel it to be alien and they hate it. But that's kind of something that maybe can't really or shouldn't be just disappeared.
Right.
And maybe done, right? So what can we do? We can go to where that client is vibrating with, this is supporting me. This is me loving myself and supporting my health and accepting, and it doesn't feel alien anymore. So even where something, or if someone has lost a limb, probably we're not going to regrow the limb.
Right.
Although that actually is not unheard of there's a story about some little boy in some village somewhere that regrew a limb. So nothing is impossible. But for the most part, because of our mass beliefs, there are certain limits we won't go by. But we can certainly help someone go to where they no longer are disabled or limited or feel it's a disability or something that they're not at ease with anymore. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
But yeah, so people can come for of course, with help with their ascension and their awakening and their self-awareness. And at all times, things are healing that they didn't even bring up in the session. It's like, oh, my back doesn't hurt anymore. We never even talked about their back, but the patterns that created the back pain were changed. So
Yes.
But sometimes it really is, I have this disease and can you please help me? Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes. Now, Cathy, is it possible that, let's say you have a client or somebody that was able to overcome something, right? But they went back to their old ways and their old thought patterns. Is it possible to have an even more detrimental experience than they did when they were in their original stuck phase?
I'm smiling because your questions are so insightful. I love this. So it's not impossible, but not for the reason people would think when they hear your question. If there's a part of them that said, "Oh, I went outside the church and outside of Western medicine, and I went to someone and I got helped by someone doing this stuff we're not really supposed to be doing. I'm going to pay the price." If they have that kind of idea or belief, they could then temporarily worsen their condition, but not for any of the reasons you would have thought. And the reason I smiled so much as this came to me this morning as I was anticipating our meeting is we can never go back. Once, when you had a session with me or someone else that's for however it's being done, bringing your own ideas and attitudes and bringing things out and changing them, you can't ever undo. You can't unknow what you know. You've opened a door. You've opened a door.
Yes.
You can't ever go back to exactly what you were before that door was open. So often the changes are profound and they're forever. And your life will continue to just roll on that timeline that you opened up for yourself.
Right.
But even if some of the old feelings you start going into resonance with some of the old pattern of, oh yeah, but I'm not lovable. It's easy. We can go back into those. You're not going to go back all the way, because now this time you're going, yeah, I see that. Yeah, except for I see you.
Right.
I see this. I know what this is. You just changed the game. It doesn't have the same power that it originally did.
Yes.
And I will say that if the condition comes back, or comes back to some degree, it's usually, more often than not, it's your signal to be more aware. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, what am I vibrating with here? What am I have one. I tell you what, years ago, when my father was dying and I was in the hospital, I was in the hospital with him, I came down with a case of shingles. Well, shingles is, as Louise Hay says, waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're waiting for your beloved parent to leave the body. Pretty rough. And I came down with a case of shingles and got through it, in 2 or 3 weeks. To this day, although I kind of don't experience this anymore, probably because I've changed so much, but for years, I would start feeling itches and tingling back there. And that, I call it the canary in the coal mine. It's like, okay, I'm starting to vibrate with, I'm not safe. Something might happen to me, or some of the old pattern of vibration. And so it would kind of give me a warning. So if you do start vibrating with an old pattern, you start seeing some of those same things, that's your heads up. Right. to be aware of yourself.
Right. Absolutely. Great explanation. When you talk about being intuitive, are you also saying that you are psychic?
Yeah.
Do psychics use intuition? Is it just an automatic thought process? Like, how does that work for you when you come across an energy during a session?
Intuition, being psychic is intuition. There's no separation. Clairvoyant is another word, although clairvoyant per se is to see, whereas clairsentient is to sense, and clairaudient. So I have all of the above, and we all have it. We just have, most of us, been very trained to not pay attention. It's actually a sense that we're built with as human beings. We are built to be telepathic beings. And again, we're ascending as a species, and this stuff, as we're allowing it individually and collectively, we're allowing our DNA to be upgraded and trigger, but we are all intuitive. I didn't even think of myself as psychic when I was younger. All kinds of things happened in the house as I was growing up, and I would see things sometimes, and I would know things. And then in my young adult life, I would know things, but I thought I wasn't psychic or psychic enough. And so what I have learned is when information comes through non-physical sources. So when you feel it to be true, not logic it to be true, when you feel it, that's it. You listen, and I have very much trained myself to it's a see feel. What you asked about when there's an energy, it's a see feel. It's there, and I'm aware of it. It's just as real as me touching something and feeling it, but it's kind of here more. Yes. And it's or I'll say something that I think is just something I thought of to say, and the client will go, oh, I painted a picture just like that when I was a child, and it meant so much to me. I didn't even know it consciously. So you start trusting that information from your whole self, not the ego brain, from the whole self is what's going to come through, and you start learning to take that seriously as a sense, just as seriously as taste, touch, and smell.
Yes.
And I worked I worked to develop it. And we're always all growing, all of us. And I'm always giving myself more and more to being aware more. Yeah.
Yes. I have one more question to ask, and it just came to mind as you were talking.
Sure.
Do you feel that religion has suppressed us as spiritual beings to be able to tap into our clairs, our clairvoyance, our clairsentience, because like you said, we are naturally made to be psychic.
Mhm.
So when you gradually take that away and you sometimes turn our attention to something else that kind of may not necessarily agree that we naturally all have these abilities, do you think that religion, for example, plays a part in why some of us are not tapping into those senses?
Pardon me. I think for sure that's true, because those senses are part of our whole self. We are each of us the God consciousness expressing through our individual perspective. Danny, Kathy, everybody who's watching or listening, and we are our whole self consciousness. Religions. Um, yeah, without getting into any individual religions, they seem to want to take your connection. It's not even connection. You're not connected to your source self. You are your source self experiencing as Danny, right? You're not connected to the web. You are the web. You're it. You're it. And it seems like, for whatever the reasoning being, that that religions very often, very deliberately try to cut us off and make us separated from our source self.
Mm-hmm.
And then there seems to always be power of those to tell you how to talk to God, and that maybe you have to go through them to talk to God, that kind of thing.
Yes.
I'm trying to be.
No, you're doing a fantastic.
I'm trying to be gentle here.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I think that's absolutely true. And also, what, just as you were asking me that, what flashed through here too is, let's not forget that we create our reality. We actually are all at some level, at our highest levels, we are all ascended masters.
Mm.
We are all we're multidimensional. We exist in all our possibilities. That includes already ascended master. That includes a creator of this. I'm not kidding. This reality, the whole earth reality and the cosmos. We have a level of ourselves that are also the creators. We're at all levels. And when we bring our consciousness down, not down, up, down, I don't like that, but focused into this physical, very narrow physical 3D, even though at some other level we created the whole structure, the whole reality structure, from this little vantage point, I feel we got so entranced with our own creation that we're looking at how all of these things work together in the electromagnetic physical realm. And it's kind of like we drank our own Kool-Aid. We got entranced with that, like that's all that's real. Another way to say that is that, if you can be completely in spirit, not even physical, you can come down to such a focus that you're just completely physical. And of course, ideally, you're your whole self and you're all. But we got so entranced with the science that the science became kind of the religion. I mean, it's to where scientists, it's getting better, but they're afraid to disagree with other scientists, because if they try to say anything is true that doesn't go with their mainstream, they lose their funding, they lose the respect of the community, you name it. So again, I think that now we're, as a species, we're just waking up so much that we're rising out of complete entrancement with just the physical and realizing there's consciousness behind it. And again, they're back to this is a theme we didn't know would happen. Quantum, what does quantum say? That it's consciousness is the X factor. Yes. The consciousness of the observer is what creates reality. There is no reality without consciousness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cathy, you have been phenomenal. Thank you so much for being a guest today on the show. Before we leave, do you have any type of website, social media platforms? Is there any way that if a viewer or listener is on this episode and they are interested and want to work directly with you, how can they contact you?
Absolutely. My website is kathyhazeladams.com, and that's Kathy with a C and a Y, everyone, if you're listening, kathyhazeladams.com. I am on YouTube, and my channel is Kathy Hazel Adams Quantum Spirit. I'm on Instagram. I don't honestly do a lot of Instagram, but I'm on there as Kathy Hazel Adams. And then I'm also on Patreon, Kathy Hazel Adams Quantum Spirit. So I'd love to hear from your viewers. What a great show. What a great crew.
Aw, wonderful. Thank you so much again, Cathy. And thank you to all of you viewers and listeners for watching another episode and listening to another episode of the Estrella podcast. My name is Danielle Miranda. And don't forget, go to estrellaadvisors.com to check out what's happening with the platform. Have a wonderful day. Cathy, thank you so much. And I hope you have a fantastic day.
Thank you. You as well. Blessings.